the video on making something I didn't actually plan for dinner. So I was going to do like a rice pilaf, but I haven't got any rice. So I'm going to use that instead. It's been in the cupboard for a while. I can't pronounce that. No, whatever. But it's been in the cupboard for a while, and it takes quite a while to cook. So I kind of think that'll be ideal for doing like a pilaf type of thing. And yeah, I don't know why I haven't got any rice. Anyway, and then I've been emptying the freezer, and I've got a couple of pheasants from last year. So there, instead of being like a chicken pilaf, it's going to be a pheasant pilaf. So I'm going to colour them. This is a real, using up what I've got in the cupboard, and then embarrassingly I'm going to use oh yeah, I'm making some stock today as well. So we're using the stock from the bones that have come from chicken legs that I turned the meat into a pie. So I made a stock out of the cooked bones. It's a very good stock. So we're going to use that stock. We're going to use the fat that I skimmed off the top of the fat for frying off the pheasants, and then for onions. Embarrassingly, these are the onions. I did some caramelised onions yesterday. So these are all the onion trimmings. So like all the bits of the roots. So we're going to use those instead of chopped onions. And then we've got some turmeric, and we've got some coriander seeds, which we're going to leave whole, and we've got a bit of cumin as well. Or was there something else for a bit? Oh yes, I've got some dessert lemons, which I made last year. There's a video. They were very nice, and I presume they are still very nice. But it's going to be a real dinner from what I've got, rather than going out and buying things. So I think I swapped these pheasants for some bread, I think, last year from someone who goes out shooting. So all they cost me was the cost of the flour and my time. So we'll brown these off, we'll chop those up. When those are browned off, we'll saute the onions in there. I would have fried off the rice to give it a bit of colour, but obviously we're not going to fry off that. Quinoa? Does that sound right? And then I'm going to go swimming, and I'm going to leave it slowly cooking in the oven. I'm going to be out for about an hour and a half, so I'm not going to bring up the I'd normally boil the stock and put it in the and put it over the rice as I'm cooking a pilaf. But I'm not going to do that because I'm going to rely on it cooking a little bit slower, because I'm going to be out for an hour and a half swimming. So turn those off, and then we'll chop these up. So it's just, I don't know. I seem to be on this bit of so times are a bit tough, aren't they? With money and heating and all that kind of stuff. So I think the idea of being extremely frugal with the food that you cook is a good idea, and certainly not wasting these little bits, because there's nothing wrong with them. It's certainly a good idea as well. So onion is onion in my eyes, and I'd only put it in the soup, so I might as well use it in something that I'm eating. That, and then so yeah, I think if you know someone who goes out shooting, goes out hunting, there's always birds, and there's always more birds than they always shoot more than they eat, so they give them away. So if you can get in friendship with someone who goes out shooting, then you can get yourself pheasants and some partridges and rabbits and all those type of things for little or no money. Or can do is you can swap your time and go out beating with them, which means that you go around and you beat the hedges and the grasslands with sticks to get the birds to fly out, and they will pay you to do that, and they will pay you in birds, which I think is a great idea. Anyway, so my battery's running out on my phone, so we're going to fry those off, and we're going to add the onions, about 400 grams of onions. We're going to use about 400 grams worth of quinoa, and then there's about 800 millilitres worth of chicken stock, and we might just throw in that fat as well for good measure, because that will make it lovely and hearty. It won't make it greasy, but it will make it nice and rich. So those are about there. Just do it on that. Just to get them a little bit of colour. And then we'll fry off the onions, and then I'll be back when I've fried off the onions and we're ready to put everything together. So one of those things, if you're ever going to come round to my house for tea, be prepared that the onions I might use might actually be the stalks and all kinds of things. You'll never be able to tell. But if you're coming over to my house for free, you're going to get what you're given, and get what you're given means potentially whatever's in the freezer and whatever in the cupboards. But I'm viewing this as almost a dinner for free. Yeah, so it's just the price of not that much. So I think it's going to be a really cheap tea. And we'll see how it turns out. I did have some saffron of it, but I would have used it if I had the rice, but I haven't got any rice. Well, I have got a bit of rice. I don't know why I haven't got any rice. Right, they seem like they're alright, so they can rest. Yeah, that's alright. They can rest on the lid there. Onions can go in. Like that. Chop the rest of the onions. Or if it wouldn't have been onions, it would have been leeks or any other veg that I had my hands on. But it's going to cook for long enough. The roots are edible. All that bit's edible. It's just as long as there's no dirt on it, it's all fine. Just turn that down a little bit. There we go. So we'll carry on. We'll cook these. We'll put things together, and then we'll be back when ready to put it in the oven. Onions are softened. I've also now thrown in about a teaspoon of ground cumin, a teaspoon of turmeric, and about a teaspoon of coriander seeds. I haven't crushed them, just let them hold. It smells delicious. Just that, absolutely delicious. And then we've got one preserved lemon, which I've chopped up. It's quite salty, so I'm not going to add any extra salt to this. I will add some pepper. I bet the pepper is just about run out. Oh no, we've got enough pepper. So I'll put a bit of pepper in, just to, the heat will just start releasing those flavours from the pepper as well. And then, so the lemons are quite salty. Some people take it out. I leave it in. I quite like that savouriness of it. So that will be staying in. It must be over a year old by now, and put some of the juice in as well. And I'm going to squish that. Yes. Let's just give it a bit of a squish. Give it a bit of a squish. And then it will be more evenly dispersed. So I've made a mess of my potato masher. That's right. And then, so I put all that fat in, which some people will be horrified with, but the pheasant's kind of quite lean, so I think it'll take that extra amount of fat that we're putting in. So whereas I wouldn't put chicken in, chickens are kind of quite fatty, So a chicken would have. Actually, look at that sauce has gone. That stock's gone nice and jellified. We want that. Yeah, so chickens are kind of quite fatty, so, and where pheasants aren't, so there would have been lots of natural fat coming out of the chicken anyway. So we're only really having about the same amount of fat in it as well. And with the fat, there's loads of flavour, and it'll give it a nice richness. And we're rapidly heading into winter, so we're down. We're rapidly heading into winter, so that fat will make it extra nice. And just don't tell people how much fat you've got in things. They don't want to know. They don't want to. Generally, with people, they'd be horrified how much fat and salt and sugar go into things when you're cooking in kitchens. So don't tell them. You know, they just think it tastes wonderful because of some magic trick, and all it really is fat and salt and a bit of care and attention. So now we've got 400 grams worth of thingamajig, whatever you want to call it. Give that a stir around. Might be a little bit too much liquid, but we'll see. We'll see how we go. Yeah, be right. If it's a little bit wet, it doesn't matter. And then my bird's in. That one that way. That one that way. Juice as well. Now normally I'd bring this up to temperature and then put it in the oven. But I don't. I think putting it in without bringing it up to boil first, I think it'll be ready after an hour and a half when I come home. Maybe it won't. Maybe I should bring it up to boil, get up to temperature. No, let's not. Let's not. Let's go with my first instinct, and that was just to turn the gas off, put it in the oven, and let it cook. So there we go, in the oven, 150 degrees, and then on the fan, and an hour and a half. We'll see what it looks like when I come home from swimming. It smells ready, so let's have a look. Squeaky oven door. One day I will fix it. I just need a bit of oil. But anyway, so ooh, look at that. I didn't put too much liquid in, did I? I was thinking about that while I was swimming. I was thinking that maybe I'd have to take some of the liquid out and boil it up in a pan. So, are we ready? Oh yeah, that's certainly cooked. That's certainly cooked. So, what do we do? Should we take a picture? Yeah, let's take a picture, and then we'll dig in. We'll turn the oven off. We'll dig in, and we'll see how it tastes. Right. How does that taste? Hope it's not too salty. That's lovely. No, that's lovely. Let's just get the knife. I'm just slicing my fingers off. So, depending how greedy you're feeling, what's that going to feed? 4? Half a pheasant per person? Or a big chicken? Not going to be easy to carve because they didn't take the wishbone out. I'm not sure how it's going to be after it's been in the freezer for a year. There we go, just prise it away. Maybe a little bit over for pheasant. just have a taste. No, it's still nice. It's still nice after a year in the freezer. Do you know, that preserved lemon just makes that world of difference. That's lovely as well. For all those people who take the preserved lemon out, I say leave it in. It's like these little flavour explosions when you find them. That's lovely. So, it works with pheasant, and it works with quinoa. Yeah, that's lovely, that. I'm going to enjoy that, and I'm going to have leftovers for tomorrow.